Hey everyone, welcome back to the Fitness Beast YouTube channel. I got a very interesting comment on Instagram the other day when I had posted my video about the first part of my fitness journey with multiple sclerosis. I had someone comment on it regarding me talking about type 1 diabetes. I don't know why it was on my MS post, but apparently you can get type 2 diabetes, not type 1, but type 2 diabetes via herpes. I did not know diabetes was a sexually transmitted disease. But the thing is that when I was talking to this guy about it, he said he was definitely diagnosed with type 1. So what I decided to do is I'm going to film a video explaining to you exactly what the difference between type 1 and type 2 is. So this guy told me that he went to this herbalist and the herbalist gave him some bloody concoction that helped him get rid of his type 2 diabetes. Which again, if it's caused by herpes, there might be multiple ways to get rid of it, but when it comes to type 1 diabetes, it's an autoimmune disease. What happens is that your body literally attacks the insulin islet producing cells in your pancreas, so it kills them off, so you no longer produce any insulin at all, which is what I have. You know, you can get it later in life, like in your 20s and whatnot, but most people, it's called juvenile diabetes for type 1 because most people get it when they're young. I got it when I was 11 years old. Now, very simple, impossible to cure as far as we know up to this point, and again, an autoimmune disease. It's not caused by herpes. Again, that was new to me, so very strange. Anyway, that's type 1. Herpes diabetes is type 2 diabetes. Now, what type 2 is that not only is it generally caused by lack of exercise, really bad nutrition, a lot of fat around the midsection, so, it kind of blows a hole in the hole, you can be fat and healthy, but I'll get into that in another video. But the thing is that when you have a lot of adipose tissue around your organs and stuff like that, that fat makes it extremely hard for your insulins to get transmitted from your blood to your organs. Literally, the fat is a tissue that doesn't allow anything to pass through it. So when you have it in excess on your body, it prevents insulin from transmitting from your pancreas to your organs, as I had mentioned. So what that means is that it forces your body to create an excess amount of insulin in order to get to your organs, which also leads to a bunch of other things like insulin resistance because you're producing so much of it. But on top of that, is that you can actually, insulin cells aren't a unlimited resource. It's one of the things in your body that is finite. If your body keeps producing insulin and nothing's reaching your organs, eventually you will tire out your islets in your pancreas and they will stop producing insulin. You will effectively turn yourself into a type 1, so to speak, through having type 2. Now, to kind of go along with the differences between type 1 and type 2 again, is that as a type 1 diabetic, if I were to eat really badly, treat my body like, garbage, I can also get type 2 diabetes. You can have both diabetes at the same time. If you're massively obese, for example, you already have type 1 diabetes, you can give yourself type 2 also. So not only will you be increasing your insulin resistance, which is the main source of type 2 diabetes, but you also will lead to the fact that your body's not going to be producing any insulin at all. So for example, I'm only type 1, which means that I only don't produce insulin. And because I've lost weight, my insulin has barely any issue getting to my organs, getting to my system in order to help transport sugar from my blood to wherever it needs to go. Now, there's a few things you have to keep in mind with this, right? When it comes to transporting sugar from your blood to your organs, why blindness, why amputation are issues for this, and why it's a bigger issue for type 2s and type 1 is because if you do not take care of your blood sugar, right? If you don't take care of what you eat, you can go blind because, for example, the blood vessels in your eyes aren't big enough to pass molecules of sugar through them. So when you have an accumulation of sugar in your eyes, that's what leads to blindness. Now, when it comes to the amputation of different limbs, it's because if you have too much sugar passing through your blood that is not going anywhere, it creates plaques in your blood, it hardens your arteries, and it effectively shrinks them as well, so that there's no blood passage going through it. So eventually, you have to cut off your arm or whatever is being afflicted by it. Now, the difference between these two is one is 100% preventable, completely. Type 1 diabetes, like people like me, there's nothing we can do for it, right? Like, yes, there's predispositions to it. Yes, there may be ways you can potentially offset getting it, but there's nothing in and of itself that you can do to stop getting type 1 juvenile diabetes. Type 2, on the other hand, 100% preventable. It's with what you eat, how you treat your body, making sure you get the right exercise, the right nutrients, and making sure you don't have a massive accumulation of fat around your midsection. Now, I'll post links down at the bottom so you can see a bit more detail into all these things, but those are the fundamental differences between type 1, type 2, and the STI of diabetes, apparently, herpes-related diabetes. Anyway, I hope that satisfies your questions to understand the difference between the 3 types of diabetes. Again, I didn't even know there was a 3rd type, but there is a major difference. One's preventable completely, the other one is impossible to necessarily prevent because it is an autoimmune disease. Anyway, hope that answers your question. Like, subscribe, keep following along if you like the information I'm giving you, and I'll see you next week. Cheers, guys. Bye.